You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for 13 News at 6. I'm Tori Mason.
And I'm Jace Mills. Severe storms could be on the way. Meteorologist Ian Cassette, he's in the Weather Center to let us know. Hi, Ian.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is going to be an active evening. Rain chances are back, including a chance for some severe weather. In fact, a severe thunderstorm warning, or watch rather, has been issued for our area until 11 p.m. for a few counties. But here, let's take a look outside what it looks like on the radar. We do see a small cell there developing in northwestern Riley County there. We're going to be monitoring this development throughout the rest of the evening. This area just to the southeast is the most likely area to see any severe weather, and it's these initial storms that develop that would be the highest chance for any severe weather, and the main concern being for damaging hail and winds, with hail being the more concerning of the two. Overall today we did have a very breezy day. Wind gusts up to 30 to 40 miles per hour. Still seeing those wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour now. Expect those winds to continue throughout the rest of the evening, but die down by later tonight. We'll be watching for that severe weather. The overall headlines: the scattered storms expected through the rest of this evening into early tonight. Then rain chances return tomorrow, but not for the whole area. I'll let you know where you can expect those rain chances best. We got rain chances all through next week. I'll be detailing all this coming up later.
Ian, thank you. Looking forward to your full forecast. Well, we're now getting word of a wreck at Northeast Calhoun Bluff and Calhoun Bluff Terrace. We want to take you live there now. The crash happened just after 5 this evening. You can kind of see that. Police found a car under a railroad bridge. Shawnee County Dispatch tells us one person was taken to the hospital by ambulance. Of course, we don't yet know the person's condition. We'll have more on that as it becomes available at on our news tonight at 10 and our website, WIBW.com.
The Kansas Highway Patrol says a missing child has been found safe. They say the 8-year-old boy with special needs wandered off when his family stopped at a rest area off of I-70 near mile marker 310. The Geary County Sheriff's Office and Kansas Highway Patrol searched the area and found the boy in the wooded area near that rest area. He was missing for just under 2 hours. He was not hurt and has since been reunited with his family. Aerial units assisted in the search of the area. More than 100 protesters were held around the country today on what's normally tax day, demanding that President Trump release his tax returns. One of those protests turned violent. The demonstrations come as tensions are heightened between the U.S. and North Korea, which celebrated its most important holiday today. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette reports from New York.
Fights broke out in Berkeley, California Saturday between protesters and supporters of President Donald Trump. Trump supporter John Beavers says he was attacked.
Well, they want to hit me with brass knuckles on the blind side. We're here for free speech. They don't want that. They want confrontation.
On what's usually tax day, April 15th, demonstrators demanded that President Trump release his tax returns. A couple protesters set American flags on fire. Several people were arrested.
You arrested me for nothing!
More peaceful protests were held in cities across the country, including in Washington, Philadelphia, and New York, where tens of thousands took part.
What do you want? We must know! I'm here because I want Donald Trump to release his taxes.
What do you think they'll reveal?
Maybe some ties with Russia?
The protesters here in New York City marched to Trump Tower, shutting down parts of Midtown Manhattan to traffic. President Trump is at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida this weekend and spent part of the day golfing. So far, threats from North Korea to launch possible nuclear and missile tests have not come to pass. The country marked the 105th birthday of its founding ruler Saturday with its military on full display in Pyongyang. Leader Kim Jong-un inspected the parade of soldiers. And for the first time, the North Koreans showed off an intercontinental ballistic missile that can be launched by land or sea. Vice President Pence is scheduled to visit the region Sunday with stops in South Korea and Japan. Wendy Gillette for CBS News, New York.
Police confirm at least 15 people were arrested at the protest in Berkeley.
And more from Capitol Hill. American farmers still looking for the light at the end of the tunnel as agricultural commodity prices remain low. Our Washington Bureau's Peter Zampa reports that farmers are hoping for more trade and federal protections.
I definitely think Americans should be concerned. In a rut, American agricultural product prices are discouraging, and farmers are looking for solutions. John Newton from the American Farm Bureau Federation says commodity prices and farm incomes have been in decline for years.
Across rural America, farmers have less money in their pocket to spend on Main Street.
So Newton and farmers across the country are hoping Congress and the new administration will step up to the plate. Newton wants more federal safety nets. He says they're crucial when times are tough. He also says being able to sell to as many countries as possible is a must.
We need to think about new trade agreements that we can do, maybe with Japan, Vietnam, or even China, ways to get our agricultural commodities overseas to the 96% of the population that lives outside of our border.
Here on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are working with the White House to establish these new trade agreements. Lawmakers in agriculture-heavy states want President Trump to be aggressive with these new policies.
Get going on these bilateral agreements that the president talks about a lot, but we haven't seen any direct action.
Kansas Senator Pat Roberts says confirming Sonny Perdue as the Secretary of Agriculture will jumpstart the process. He says Perdue understands the need to sell American agricultural products.
He can be a strong voice for agriculture. So if you do get into a situation that you feel things are not happening in Washington that should, or things that are happening as you don't want, why, he can weigh in.
Perdue's confirmation vote is expected following the congressional recess. In Washington, Peter Zampa, 13 News.
And Senator Roberts signed on to a letter asking President Trump to discuss U.S. beef access in a recent meeting with Chinese President Xi. Well, Topeka women learned some self-defense skills to protect them in just about any situation. Master Overbay's Martial Arts hosted a free self-defense seminar today. Some of the topics included conflict avoidance, verbal boundary setting, and how to escape from various body seizes. Self-defense instructor Patrick Overbay says he hopes women walked away with some confidence to know that they can defend themselves in any situation.
We understand that they're not going to retain everything that we went over today, but we just asked them to take, maybe one small nugget of information, try to put it into practice in their life, which will enable them to move on to the next step and make some significant changes.
Well, and if you're interested in taking part, the next self-defense seminar will take place at the end of the summer.
Well, safety was a top priority at the Topeka Zoo today during the annual Safe Kids Day. The event was hosted by Safe Kids Kansas, a nonprofit group whose main purpose is to educate families in keeping children safe from preventable injuries. Kids enjoyed interactive booths, entertainment, safety-themed scavenger hunts, and bicycle safety obstacle courses. Organizers say unintentional injuries are the leading cause of death for kids in the U.S., and they hope their cause helps end this trend. The 4th annual Easter Fest took over Noto today. The festival kicked off with the Topeka Easter Parade through the Noto Arts District on Kansas Avenue and continued to Garfield Park. Following that, a massive egg hunt took place in the playgrounds area where hundreds of kids raced to get as many eggs as they could. On top of all these great events, the park hosted a fun fair where folks could enjoy live bands, food trucks, and dozens of games and activities through much of the afternoon.
While kids are working on finding Easter eggs, adults are trying to get their taxes done. Jill Schlesinger has some tips for you late filers.
Every year, about a quarter of Americans wait until the bitter end to do their taxes. If you're getting a late start, clear your weekend schedule because the IRS estimates it takes 16 hours to complete Form 1040, only 4 hours for EZ filers. There are some overlooked resources that can help you out. Taxpayers who earn $64,000 or less can use the IRS free file software to prepare and file their federal taxes. Additionally, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA program, offers free tax help to people who generally make less than $54,000, those with disabilities, the elderly, and limited English-speaking taxpayers who need assistance in preparing their returns. In addition to VITA, the Tax Counseling for the Elderly program offers free tax help for all taxpayers, particularly those who are 60 years of age and older. They specialize in questions about pensions and retirement-related issues unique to seniors. Now, if you can't meet the tax deadline, don't fret. You can file for a 6-month extension with Form 4868 by April 18th. But those extensions have a major caveat. The IRS gives you extra time to file, but not to pay. You must estimate your tax liability and send Uncle Sam at least 90% of it to avoid a penalty. If you don't have the money on hand to pay the taxes owed, don't hide. You can apply for a free 120-day extension to pay the bill, use an IRS installment plan, make an offer in compromise, or use a credit card. But remember, credit cards can be an expensive way to go because you'll pay fees. They can run over 2%. In New York, I'm Jill Schlesinger.
Some good tips there. It seems like forever ago, Tori, that I filed my taxes.
Well, I did mine this morning.
Oh,
so.
goodness gracious.
Well, I mean, they make it really easy, though, with those online programs that let you do it for free.
That's right. Well, but there is a one import, kind of an old school thing that's on the rise, pencils.
Pencils. Coming up, we'll tell you why they're gaining popularity when we return.
You're watching 13 News at 6 with Tori Mason and Jace Mills. 13 News, Kansas News Leader. You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
In the age of high tech, an old friend is gaining popularity, the pencil.
Right, Tori. One of those oldest pencil manufacturers in the world, Faber-Castell, had its best year ever in 2016. We check in again with Wendy Gillette from New York.
Minutes after Caroline Weaver opens her New York City shop, CW Pencil Enterprise, for the day, customers from around the world show up, drawn to an old-school writing utensil.
This is the pencil for sure.
New Yorker Spencer Nelson tested a few before choosing the perfect pencil for his woodworking.
You get really fine lines. I can get a really, really sharp point, which is a big difference.
Judy Yen, who's visiting from Taiwan, appreciates the aesthetics of high-end pencils that range from Japanese high-tech, those used for voting in Denmark, to vintage.
The feeling's different. It's more trendy.
The Heibergs from Norway spotted the pencil exclusive store on Instagram, spending more than $100 on supplies for their kids.
They like to draw, and it's better to draw by hand with a pencil than on an iPad. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same feeling.
No, it doesn't.
Weaver will never erase her love for pencils, not only because of her tattoo. She points to nostalgia as one reason for the pencil's reemergence.
They're craving the feeling of doing something by hand, and though it may not be a necessity anymore, it's a very welcome novelty.
The majority of pencils are imported. The Census Bureau shows pencil imports into the U.S. increased more than 40% from 2015 to 2016.
Those in the industry say hobbies like adult coloring and journaling are fueling the uptick, a trend Weaver predicts won't fade.
There's a reason why pencils have existed for so many hundreds of years, because there's a need for them, and there always will be in some capacity.
If you still don't get the point, Weaver encourages you to put down your device and pick up a pencil. Wendy Gillette for CBS News, New York.
I might have to agree with that. I like to put down the device. I'm a paper pencil guy.
Yeah, I'm more of an iPad type of girl, but back in elementary school, I really gave up pencils when I realized you had to go to the front of the class in front of everyone and sharpen them. I became a mechanical pen girl after that.
There you go. It'll do it to you.
True.
Childhood matters. Yeah.
I know a guy uses pencils still eating cassette. We'll check back in with him for our full Easter forecast when we return.